Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. But Obama said everyone could keep their insurance. Look, President Obama did say, repeatedly, for years, that under the Affordable Care Act, nobody who liked their current health care plan would be forced to give up their current health care plan. And in retrospect, it's obvious that the president should not have said that. What he should have said was that the Affordable Care Act would not force anyone who likes their current health care plan to give up that plan. Because after all, it was not the Affordable Care Act that was going to kick so many people out of health care plans that they had had for years and enjoyed, but rather the insurance companies who would rather kick people out of those plans and cancel those plans than raise the level of coverage to meet the new standards established by the ACA. So, did President Obama say something that turned out to not be true? Yes. Should he have implemented his recently announced administrative fix for this problem a lot sooner than he did? Yes. Should the ACA have included somewhere within its nearly 2,000 pages a provision preventing this sort of thing from happening in the first place? I'm going to go with yes on that one too. Rand Paul plagiarist. So someone noticed that bits of a recent Rand Paul speech were lifted verbatim from the Wikipedia entry for the movie Gattaca. After a little bit more investigation, it was found that bits of several recent Rand Paul speeches were cribbed word for word from various sources. And when confronted with these accusations, Senator Paul dismissed the charges of plagiarism and claimed that it was just too difficult to annotate all of his speeches. Of course, annotation wouldn't be necessary if those speeches consisted of original fucking sentences. Christ almighty, you're a United States Senator. You can't come up with your own logline for fucking Gattaca? World's greatest mayor. For the last 2 weeks, I've enjoyed checking in on the wacky antics of that lovable rascal and chief executive of a major metropolis, Toronto Mayor Rob Ford. First, he admitted to smoking crack, which he attempted to excuse by explaining that he only did it during one of his drunken stupors. And now come allegations of drunk driving, doing drugs with prostitutes, and sexually harassing staff members. Now, Mayor Ford claims that he has no intentions of resigning. The Toronto City Council has officially asked him to take a leave of absence, but they have no official capacity to forcibly remove him from office. So, let me make a personal plea. Mayor Ford, if you're watching, and I know you are, do the right thing for yourself and for your city, and step down from the office of mayor, resign, and come to the United States. In fact, don't just come anywhere in the United States, come here. Come to Hagerstown, be our mayor. We'll cut you a great deal, we'll give you a nice office, your choice of vacant buildings to renovate for an official residence, and all the crack you can smoke. Come on, you couldn't make things any worse, but you could sure as hell make them a lot more interesting. Please? House Republicans refuse to vote on ENDA. Week before last, the U.S. Senate passed the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, or ENDA, which, if enacted, would explicitly prohibit workplace discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation. House Speaker John Boehner has refused to bring ENDA up for a vote in his chamber of Congress, saying that he feels the legislation is unnecessary and would only encourage frivolous lawsuits. But the facts, according to the ACLU, are that in 29 states, employers are allowed to discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation, and in 33 states they are afforded the same privilege on the basis of gender identity. Something tells me that Speaker Boehner's opposition to ENDA has less to do with his stated concerns and more to do with a desire to appease and pander to bigots. A desire not unlike that of a certain Washington Post columnist whose work of late has had many of us spending time thinking and talking about the uncomfortably paired subjects of Richard Cohen and the gag reflex. Last week, Richard Cohen chose to end his column about Chris Christie's questionable appeal to Tea Party voters by first declaring that the Republican Party was not racist, and then immediately going on to describe how the interracial marriage of newly elected New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio triggers a gag reflex among many Republicans who hold what Cohen describes in the column as conventional views. When the inevitable outrage over these comments ensued, Cohen defended himself by saying that he wasn't describing his own personal views of interracial marriage, but merely those of many members of the Tea Party. Which, of course, was never the problem to begin with. The problem was that Cohen described a party where instinctive physical revulsion at the sight of an interracial couple was apparently a conventional view as not racist. Cohen also complained that people had called him racist as a result of this column, saying that that word, racist, was truly hurtful. Yeah, and I'm sure that it is hurtful and offensive to be labeled a racist when you don't fancy yourself one. You know what else is offensive, though? People who apologize for racists and don't even realize they're doing it. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.